Hi Capricorn, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your February 2025 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic crossword as always, and I also pulled the 4 agreements and wisdom oracle card for you guys. But we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology items we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, we have 2. So second house energy for you guys is Aquarius. So it makes sense to see that come up, given that we'll be in Aquarius season for the first few weeks of February. Astrologically speaking, we'll have the new moon there technically on the 29th of January. So before we're officially in February, we'll have that. Mercury will be in there from around the 28th until the middle of February. And of course, we have Pluto there as well. So, yeah, definitely plenty going on in there. And then second house in general points to possession, self-worth, and finances. All right, we have Uranus. So, Uranus has been in Taurus for quite some time. And for you guys, that's your 5th house of romance, creativity, children. So you might start to see some sudden shifts around that area of life as well. And lastly, we have Leo. So, Leo for you guys is actually your 8th house of death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments. Astrologically speaking, there will be a full moon in Leo right around, I think, the 12th or 13th or so of the month. So, and that could be a pretty intense one too. It's going to be interacting with Uranus and Taurus. So, definitely be a significant time for you guys as well. All right, so we'll keep all that in mind as we go through main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Empress. Let's see if I get that focused. There we go. And then challenging that, we have the Hangman. So this to me is typically a Pisces energy, whereas this is more of a Taurus energy. And what I'm getting from this could just be saying that this month you might be trying to get some rest and relaxation, right? Just really detach for a little bit. But ultimately, the challenge could be you might ultimately find yourselves getting stuck in your head around a certain situation when you do so. So even when you do consciously decide, okay, let me get in some relaxation, let me step away from my day-to-day routines, you still might find yourselves looping mentally around a certain situation. All right. In the foundation, we have the Queen of Swords. So this is Libra energy here. So yeah, for some of you, maybe this is one of those things where you might have spent an extended period of time just really focused on your career goals, right? And maybe you've actually reached those goals, and now it's one of those things where you're like, okay, finally reach my goal, let me reward myself by, getting some rest and relaxation in. But then you might constantly, your mind might immediately go back to your work, right? So it can just be one of those things where you're having difficulty detaching from that side of life. All right, in the past position, we have the Ace of Swords. So yeah, so for some of you, this could just be the result of maybe having an epiphany recently, right? Where like, okay, well, yeah, if I am working this hard, why not actually take some time aside to enjoy it, right? So it could just be one of those things where you've made the decision to do it, but then in the reality, it just seems like, you can't pull yourselves away from your thoughts. All right, in the position of the present, we have Strength. So this is the major arcana card for Leo. And of course, we were talking about how when that came up with your dice, that we will have a full moon in Leo. So even though it's in the present position, maybe it's pointing more specifically to that time. But yeah, this could ultimately be saying that you might be holding yourselves back in some way too, right? So maybe there is like a bit more of a passionate pursuit that you might have in mind, for example, but for whatever reason, you could just be holding back from it at this time. All right. In the near future position, we have the High Priestess. So I usually view this as a Pisces energy as well, like the Hangman. But this could just be saying that maybe by the time we get to Pisces season, you'll be feeling a lot more in tune with what you want to do, how you want to move forward, right? And actually being able to detach from what's going on around you and be able to reflect inward. the position of your influence in the situation, we have the sun. So yeah, this is a light, playful energy. Of course, we, at the time recording this, we're just wrapping up the sun being in your sign. So it could just be as simple as that, right? Saying that as the sun was moving through your sign, that might have re-energized you in certain ways, right? Made you want to take different approaches to things. And but more than anything, I feel like this is saying that you're trying to take a light and playful approach to things this month, and maybe that's a departure from how you typically would do things. All right. In the environment position, we have the King of Swords. So this is Aquarius energy here. So it could just be as simple as pointing out the timeline that will be in Aquarius season, like we talked about earlier. Um, but if not that, this could just be saying that maybe that's the contrast, right? Where maybe people in your environment are very um, detached and, very sure-footed when it comes to communication and everything like that. But also, you might view them as a bit more stuffy and serious this month, right? Because, like I said, it seems like you're making a conscious effort to try to move away from the day-to-day kind of routines and actually enjoy yourselves a little bit. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Knight of Swords. So this is Gemini energy here, and I do have to say maybe for some of you this is coming across as more of a fear, right? Where you're fearing jumping back into a fast-paced environment, right? So, like I said, maybe you've done that, been there, done that, right? And you feel like, okay, I need to change the pace from that, right? So maybe as you're trying to consciously take more time to rest, right? And maybe it's even impulsively you might pull yourselves back toward that energy, but you might be consciously trying to step away from that, right? We're like, okay, I understand that even when, like we said, even if you decide, yeah, I'm totally gonna take the weekend off, I'm not gonna think about work at all, right? But you still might find yourselves pulled toward that, right? So you could just be trying to stuff that down, at least for the time being, right? And then just maybe fearing that it's gonna come back up to the surface. All right. And in the outcome position, we have the Seven of Wands. So yeah, this is an energy that could definitely point to a bit of conflict as well. And this represents the last 10 degrees of Leo. And that will be where the actual full moon in Leo is going to take place. So definitely watch out for that time in particular, I would say. But if anything, I feel like this is more of just, you might feel like there's too many demands on your time, right? So whether it's people just wanting to reach out and ask you for advice, right? So again, like I said, maybe if you do go on vacation from work, let's say, and people, your coworkers are calling you, hey, how do we do this? How do we do that? Right? Things like that. Could be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be some huge thing, but I feel like this is just you guys deliberately trying to distance yourselves from your day-to-day routines and maybe finding it to be a little bit difficult at times, but ultimately still going forward with it. All right. And bottom of the deck, we have the Hierophant. So for some of you, this could just be saying that maybe this was a result of maybe an experience that you had on a more spiritual level, right? That maybe taught you that, okay, yes, it's great to strive for these goals, but if you never really take the time away to enjoy reaching those goals, right, then it's always just going to feel like it's constantly one goal to the next, to the next, to the next. And then before you know it, you look back like, okay, I wish I had taken more time to enjoy these things. All right, from the Four Agreements deck, we have always do your best. And it says express your own divinity. Right? It says you don't need the acceptance of others. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You have the right to be you, and you express your own divinity by being alive and by loving yourself and others. So definitely a positive message there, right? Especially where, like I said, maybe you feel like you're detaching a little bit from your normal environment and doing things a slightly different way. So if there's some resistance around that for you guys this month, hopefully that resonated. All right. And then from the Wisdom Oracle, we have Time to Go. There's the artwork, and the number is 45. All right, the essential meanings says endings, completion, walking away from something because there is nothing else to learn or experience. The Oracle's message: you are at the end of one journey and have not yet begun the next. This is the moment to bless your experience thus far. Take stock of what you've learned. It's time to move on to new experiences and a new way of being. There is nothing left for you to do, be, or experience in your present circumstances. Take the risk and move on, even if you need to be in transition for a time. Your destiny is calling you. So yeah, interesting. Maybe for some of you, that's what you're feeling, right? Like I said, I felt like it was more of a departure from your usual routine, and to me, it seemed more like a temporary thing. But for some of you, maybe this is more of a long-term thing where you're deciding to have a fresh start. All right, the relationship message says it's over, or at the very least, the form this relationship has taken is no longer of service to you or the other person. This is a time of letting go, of knowing that the journey has come to its conclusion. That doesn't mean anything is lost. Although this card could speak to a breakup, drifting apart, or the end of a soul contract, it is more about release than destruction. Remember the saying, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. If not, it never was. Endings are always a sign of new beginnings. If you want something deeper, walk away. So definitely an interesting message there, right? And I will say at the very least, if this didn't come across as a one-to-one relationship type of spread, but if you look at that in the context of these two cards too, right? It could look like there's drastically different approaches to things between you and the other person at this time too. All right, the prosperity message says this message is clear. The path you've been on with your work, creative projects, and business alliances have come to an end. You will not find the success you desire by continuing with what is now in front of you. This is an auspicious time. This is an auspicious sign because there is no choice that will benefit you other than risking stepping into the unknown. It is time to walk towards something new. This card also pertains to the more neutral concept of completion. You've finished your task and can rest assured that this ending will open up a new and powerful avenue of opportunity, even better than you can imagine. You have done all you can. Now trust that Spirit keeps the plan moving forward. Fortune requires you to conclude this chapter of your life, and remember that when you close one door, another opens. So yeah, so for some of you, maybe that's part of this too, right? Where, like I said, maybe you're distancing yourself from your usual routine. Maybe that was because I was mentioning here with the Queen of Swords, it could just be saying that at one point you might have been very career driven, right? Maybe you're having a slight change in perspective on that, but maybe this is saying that, yeah, ultimately you reached the goal you were going for. Now you're trying to actually relax, rest, figure out what would be next, right? So you could be in that in between phase at this time. So hopefully that resonates for you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.